Hello everyone, welcome to the Campfire. This is where I interview people with my wonderful co-host, Ben.
What's up?
Yeah, okay, brilliant. And today, our first guest of this entire podcast of everything is Edxnn. Introduce yourself, dearest 3D modeler, first guest, Roblox developer.
No.
Okay, yeah, that works.
Yeah, Ian.
That's exactly how it works. Brilliant.
My name is Ed. You can call me Eden. I'm a 3D modeler, newly UI designer. I've been doing developing for about a year and a half now. Yeah, what's up?
Brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant introduction to yourself. Now,
That's why I was late. I was trying to get that down.
you were late 3 hours.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I was early. I was on time.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly how we went.
We had no issues at all. There were no minor conveniences. Everything was perfectly pre-tested.
I tried, okay? I tried. I tested everything yesterday. It is not my fault that everything suddenly decided to die on me.
I mean, it's not like those golf with your friends matches were helping with anything either, so...
Look, I am really dedicated to finishing what I started, okay? So I had to finish the match.
Obviously not your preparation.
I did prepare things yesterday. I was sure that everything worked yesterday, but...
It's what they all say.
Yeah. You Christ.
Oh my god. Okay, so honestly, let's start with the pretty basic questions. You're a Roblox developer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've already went through that.
When did you join Roblox?
2012. Yeah. I was back in when Roblox High School was a thing. You'd E-date and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, how everyone was just role-playing, like, you get those people, like, down the corridor dressed up, like, all pimp, and they're just like, oi, mate, I'm Sammy, I'm 24. Don't mess with me.
Don't pull tail. All that. Yep.
Yeah. Glory years.
So when you joined, you didn't instantly start developing, did you?
No. So I joined, and I didn't even know what developing was when I joined. I just thought that, oh, cool, people can make their own games. I didn't even know what the word developing meant. I was probably 12 at the time. No, I don't know how old I was at the time. I mostly started because one of my good friends had a Roblox account, and he was like, yo, make an account. So I was like, oh, all right. And it went from there until about a year and a half ago. I started heavily getting into it. I first started out in the clothing community, owning clothing groups and all that, and I just made my way. It was pretty cool.
What did you do in those clothing groups? You did clothing, or were you just a part of the group?
I owned them all.
Damn, son.
Yeah, I jumped right into it. I mean, it did okay for the first part. I had a couple of groups hit a good milestone, and I had a few things go here and there. But other than that, it was alright. I mean, I'm glad I got out of the community. I'm not going to talk much about it because it's super controversial. But
Yeah. But what really, like, you said that you thought it was really cool that in Roblox you can make your own game, but what really that got you onto the path of development? Like, what appealed to you about that specifically?
so I had a friend. His name, what was his name?
Was a good friend. You got that. What was his name?
We had a fallout, so I haven't really talked to him in a couple of years. But he was in the clothing community as I was. He was a builder. He introduced me into like the dev forums and all that. He got me into building, which is what I started out in. Ever since there, I made like stuff for like cafes. I made stuff for like hotels and all that.
Let's be honest.
And then,
all of us started with freaking cafes and random as fuck hotels.
Yeah. Of course.
That's
Everyone
just a
has.
start.
Everyone has. But I went from there, and then I got introduced to for people like Xylith. He hates when I call him Xyleaf.
Xyleaf.
If you DM him saying Xyleaf, he will literally block you.
Yeah, okay, yeah, sure.
Right, that's a good tip for anyone meeting Mr. Xyleth.
Yeah. Don't call him Xyleaf.
Yes, don't call him Xyleaf or you will get blocked, demoted, and destroyed and executed.
And we're getting blocked like 6 times because we mentioned it like 6 times.
Yeah.
Oh crap.
It's like a Lord Voldemort situation. Don't say his name.
This podcast is gonna get a copyright notice from Xyleaf for calling him Xyleaf.
Yeah.
Not even the copyright notice. He's just gonna flag it for bullying.
But I DM'd him, we introduced each other, and then he saw my work and he pulled me onto a team called Level Up Studios. Ever since then, I've just been deving for them, and we're coming out with a new game recently. Can't really talk much about it, but...
Are you sure? What if I ask nicely?
Yeah. I literally can't say anything about the game.
Can't even slightly tip about it, or it's just...
No, I can't say a single word about it.
Fair enough.
So what a cliffhanger I just left you guys on.
Ooh.
Oh, that is something that people
Come
have
back
to
for part 2.
wait for then.
Yeah.
So...
Here, I can give you guys an estimate. It should be out in a couple months, few months.
Great. Well, hope it goes well for you with that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Releasing a game, I can't relate.
Mean you never actually like finished nor started a game. So
I can say that I have released one game at least, and that one game just happens to have almost 3 million visits now. I think yeah, that's about right.
All right.
That's just a humble flex.
That's it?
What? Ladies, calm down.
No, that's congratulations, man.
Thanks.
GG.
The first version of it is pretty crap, though. Like, I have to say this. I don't want to diss the relations or anything, but when we were working on this game, right, we got into the feature program. When that was still a thing, right? So we got into the feature program. We're like, yay, hell yeah. We started working the game, and then they said, yeah, in about a few weeks or so, that's the deadline. So like, oh yeah, let's take our time, let's start refining and polishing things and everything. And then pretty much the next day, they just message us and it's like, oh yeah, the deadline has been moved to tomorrow. It's like, oh, okay, tomorrow's the deadline. Okay. So then we stayed up like till 4 a.m. just randomly throwing things together, just trying to make everything work. So we tried it. We got everything working like a freaking Frankenstein monster, and then released the game. And everything was rushed. Absolutely every part of it was rushed. Yet somehow people liked it. So you know, that's something. What? Now that when you join the developer community, let's call it that, via Xyleaf, you probably started meeting a lot of other developers, right? How was that, like being in that world?
It was great. I of course you start out from nowhere, and then you meet these people, and your name starts getting out there. And then all of a sudden you're talking to like Azimo, not necessarily Azimo, but you're talking to people like
big up in your league.
Yeah. And then you realize that the dev community is so tight and so nitpicked that everyone here are basically family, and you just there's not much drama that goes on in the community, but
I feel more with drama in the RTC or just the Roblox community in general isn't necessarily by developers, but more like how do you explain it? Not developers, but still relatively involved with
YouTubers.
It's kind of like, yeah, kind of like they're like the children, and the developers are like the more mature adults, except not really mature, but a step up.
This thing recently called RDC 2020 Countdown.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you guys are there, but it was really cool. A bunch of devs came out, like Isaac came out, Obscurinity, the Hype came out, Coefficients was out there, Inspection Time was out there. It was really cool, and you got to meet a lot of people, and that's not something that, like, let's say people do, like YouTubers or anything. It's a couple YouTubers are there, like Rainway and all of them, but other than that, it was really cool, and you get to realize how many people really take this as serious as possible, and that everyone's just all in it together.
Yeah, it's just like the community's really something. Like,
it's the thing. It's its own, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
It is something that I also realized when I started out, I was obviously a player. I was just a fanboy of most of these people, right? And then suddenly, when my work started getting acknowledged and it blew up and things, and people started messaging, the same people I was fans of started messaging me, congratulating me, asking me to work with them. It was mind-blowing. And the further I got into the entire community, the more I realized that once you're in the developer community, you pretty much know everyone. Like, everyone pretty much knows everyone. I don't know if you noticed this, but like, every person I met who's a developer is a friend, is friends with another friend of mine, who is friends with another friend, who's friends with another friend. It literally feels so closely tight that when there is developer drama, it goes so out of hand because every freaking knows everyone.
Mm-hmm. And then everyone gets involved, but it doesn't last but like a day. So
yeah, it's a one day event, and then it's like, oh yeah, so what's for lunch today?
Yeah. We all kiss and make up.
It's kind of like with YouTubers, you know. It kind of feels very similar to YouTube, because like when YouTubers have drama, right? It blows up. You have exposed videos, so on and so forth. But then in a few days, it's like, oh hey, Jake Paul did something again.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Classical Jake Paul.
Well, this guy did something. It's only good or bad. Like,
there's always drama in the YouTube community. Not necessarily our YouTube community, but just as a whole.
What do you actually think about kind of, let's say, symbiosis of YouTubers and Roblox? Like when you have Roblox YouTubers.
Of our Roblox community?
Yeah, like when you have people like Rainway, Russo Talks, like YouTubers that are part of the Roblox community that do Roblox content on YouTube.
It's
pretty... I mean, they're doing their own thing. I mean, they're grinding. They're doing what we're doing. It's just
I feel it's both a good thing and a bad thing. Like, a good thing is that, yeah, they're a part of the community and they help getting like the name of Roblox out there, and that's obviously a good thing for both the game and the community, because if they're coming from YouTubers, then we'd probably see some like new faces within the community. But the bad thing is if like the YouTuber has like a quote-unquote bad reputation. For example, if they're known for like trolling games or like people and that, then their community would influence and like join other people's games and just start like basically acting like a dickhead.
I know exactly. There's a certain person that I'm thinking of. I'm not gonna say his name, but he makes that type of content. I mean,
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, he's a younger guy. He's always in his videos flexing his limiteds, and he's just got that bad reputation. I mean, it's a good thing he doesn't try to promote our games, because I'm not trying to be controversial, but the people in that type of way, it's just gonna send us bad traffic.
Yeah.
But then there's people like Rainway and Russo that are doing alright, and they give off a good taste.
Yeah.
A good taste.
Yeah. A good taste.
They give off a good taste.
Like, so YouTubers within like the Roblox community, I think just depends on like what kind of fan base they have. I don't think it's the actual YouTuber. I mean, that's a big part of it. I think it's more of like the community, because obviously if like the YouTuber is more involved and have like a negative representation of themselves, then their audience, because obviously they like them, they're the YouTubers. Yeah, cool.
But the YouTube community, they're doing their own thing. I mean, they don't really clash with us besides the whole RDC thing, which got out of hand. But other than that, I mean, they do their own thing. They help us like we help them, and
they're pretty chill.
Yeah. Most of them.
Yeah. You have good ones and bad ones.
As you do in every community.
Yeah.
You always have those bad apples, those people that you talk about but also don't talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And those people who look good, and then like a year later, where everyone gets to know, it's like,
You know, this might be a bit of an uncomfortable question, but you have flexed your car a fair bit on your Twitter. Like you flex your car like I flex my new mic. So
there's quite a difference between a microphone and a new car, I tell you that.
So you earned that car. You actually bought that car with the money you earned from Roblox.
Not 100%. No. There's a little side story to it, but I'd say 50% of it is from Roblox. Yes.
That is quite an amazing thing. Like if somebody had told me like years ago that hey, you can start earning thousands upon thousands upon millions of dollars from a freaking game, which
no, dude. If I was, let's say back in 2012, someone came up to me and said, hey, you're gonna hit 2019, 2020, you're gonna be able to buy your own car and all that. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. I don't ever see that happening. I don't even know what the word development means, so get out of my face. Yeah,
like I think most people in the community were really young when they started. But if me now came up to like me when I joined Roblox and be like, hey, you'd be here like talking to other developers. Not quite anywhere yet, but still, you're getting there.
Yeah.
Like, my old Twitter account was reasonably, like, I'd say successful in, like, 10 quotes, because I don't really like referring to myself or anything like that. But it was reasonably, like, how do I say this without sound like a douchebag?
I think it's a bit too late for
I can't say the word popular, because that would just...
Yeah, no, I don't. I hate when people come up to me and say, "Oh, you're pretty known," which or successful. I don't see myself as known. I don't see myself as successful. I see myself.
I guess I could call myself known. I guess, or at least back then. But if I came up to myself from back then and said that I would be like reasonably known, and I'd have people who like me and have like a bunch of friends from there, then no, I would just no.
Who are you?
Oh.
that question
just
took a moment to register.
Nah, just
Yeah, that's how I destroy someone's insecurity and self-confidence and...
down.
Yeah.
No, you just crushed my whole life there.
It was kind of like a Jenga tower going down.
Yeah, but no, I haven't really done anything yet, or like took off or anything, but I'm a scripter. I've been doing it since like God knows 2013, 2014, and I used to have a Twitter back in 2016 which had like almost 500 followers, and I worked with a few people, mainly like Icy and Mole, but yeah, nothing really about that myself.
Talking about working with people, and what have you. Ed, you probably have worked with a fair few people. You wanna name drop some people?
For the people that's public, of course there's Xylif, there's Roku. I've worked with quite a big developers on the side that's really private.
Yeah.
But besides that, I mean, I've connected with quite a few people. I know that I got lucky enough to have some of my work in murder mystery, but that's a whole joke to me because it's like one asset because one of the developers commissioned me for it. But I always joke around with that, saying, "Yeah, my work's in murder mystery."
Okay. What has been your worst experience working with someone? You don't have to name drop anyone. Just your worst experiences working with people, or
my worst experience. There hasn't really been any, to be honest. Besides back when I was like in the cafe community. I mean, everyone's got scammed in that community. So I mean, the one time I was in the cafe community,
yeah.
I did work and they refused to pay me, so I took it to Twitter and that tweet like blew up and got like hundreds of likes and retweets, and it somehow shut that cafe down. So I was like, alright, and they still have yet to pay me to this.
So basically your tweet took off just because someone pretty much scammed you out of your work.
Oh yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, my dude.
Relatable.
Yeah. So, I mean, besides that, I've never really had an issue.
That's actually amazing because there's constantly people complaining about absolutely crap clients or absolutely crap projects and so on and so forth. I actually expected you at least have one bad experience to name drop.
Not that I can really think of. There's times to where someone hires me and I agree to it, which is something that I should never really do. But later down the road, I just don't do it because I don't like the person.
Bruh.
I mean, that's something bad on my behalf, and that's something that I shouldn't do.
Mo, what was your worst experience with client when you were working with?
There is when you ask me a question like that, there's only one person I can think of, only one project I can think of. I'm not gonna name drop.
Say that again?
I'm not gonna name drop. I'm not gonna name anyone. But a while ago, when I was still starting out, after I was introduced to ICT by our friendly neighborhood Ben here, IC asked me to join a project. The specific project was quite messy, to say the least. And at first I was hired as a builder. But at some point I ended up modifying the scripts, working on retextures, just doing an entire crap ton of things. Just things that I'd never done before. All because the head developer at that time literally made half of the team quit. So I was just there like, okay, so now we have to do that. Can you do this retexture? Can you do this UI? I'm like, yeah, sure, I guess. And then it's like, then a few weeks later, cut to a few weeks later, I wake up, IC DMs me, hey, did you know you got fired? I'm like, wait, what? Wait, what? And they're like, oh yeah, I'm kicked, I'm blocked. Yeah, okay, I guess I got fired from my project. I tried to reach out to the head scripter of the time. He refused to respond to me because he had blocked me. So I tried to talk it out through IC then. I was like, oh, can you do something? Can something be done about this? But no. And then I was like, okay, fine. You know what? I'm just gonna make a tweet on Twitter because I don't have any other options left. So I went to Twitter and explained it all on Twitter, and that tweet blew up. Much like your story, that tweet absolutely freaking blew up. That's when this person, this head developer, asked for a group chat between me, IC, and him, and he pretty much threatened to delete my maps and all of my work if I didn't take the tweet down. So I responded with, go f yourself, and left the group chat.
LOL.
And then when the tweets started getting more popularity, pretty much everyone got involved. Ben here got involved, a few other people got involved. It became a whole thing. To a point where this person had an absolute meltdown in the replies to that tweet. Which just, let's just say it evolved the situation further. It ended up with his career being pretty much destroyed.
I don't want to know who this is. Can you type it in the chat? Just type it in the chat so you don't have to say it.
If you're gonna cut out this bit where we actually ask who it is, then yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna really name drop, but like, I'm not gonna name him publicly because I don't want to start throwing any shade at anyone. Like this is in the past, so I don't want to like bring it up, and I don't want to use this as a way to cancel him or anything. And you know, maybe he's changed, maybe he's better, so no point in like really dragging up the past per se. That was my worst experience.
My worst experience with, I would like to say quote unquote developer because they did fuck all. Basically, this was before I started using Twitter more often. So I didn't really have anyone to like reach out or call out because it was more like a small community drama thing and like for like more or less taking it to public. So have you lot heard of Ninja Warrior, or at least are familiar with it?
No.
The TV show. Okay. Well, pretty much just this like contest where you have to like do this pretty hard obstacle course on TV. And,
I remember that show. Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, Ninja Warrior.
Yeah. Most of my friends from back then used to be pretty involved with like a community for that show, or at least the Roblox version of that show, like community. I never was because I didn't really know much about the show, but one of my friends, his friends, which is the developer, reached out to me saying like, oh hey, my friend said you can script in that, do you want to like help me with a Ninja Warrior game? And even though I knew nothing about Ninja Warrior, I was still like, okay, maybe I could learn from this. So I was like, okay, sure. And 1 week later, after starting the project, we just scrapped it because I knew nothing about it. And so the next day, he comes up to me saying, hey, I've got another idea floating out in my head. Do you want to help with that? It was like a whole like RPG game. I can say the name of the game because it's pretty much just an inside joke with friends at this point. But it was a RPG game we tried to make, and it was called Rise of Desdemona. And exactly like the game name suggests, nothing really has risen in the development process since then. And the game got reasonably like far into development. I was actually like pretty staggered from how far it got. In other words, like we were probably about like quarter of the way through, and for an RPG game, that's quite a lot. And then like me and the other developers were all like, "Hey, this guy who's meant to be like the project leader, like he wasn't actually doing anything, and we were just here like doing all the work. Where he was just here like, hey, do this," and like he did say he was going to do stuff, but he ended up not doing it. So we pointed it out, and we pretty much just kind of threatened him, saying like, oh, if you don't like start working like all of us, then we'll just ditch the project. Into which he just started getting into like a tantrum, and then he started like just the typical like, oh, you can't do that, we're so far into the project and that, etc. And then yeah, it wasn't really like a long argument or anything. It was just kind of like that, and then he didn't really block me either. But it wasn't until probably until like a year or so actually later, after we cancelled the project, all the developers were like in a call, but like for doing something else, not developing. And then when I joined the call with the head developer, he instantly left the Discord call, and he was literally like, oh, I'm not going on the same Discord call as that cretin. Like, what have I done to you? I literally done nothing. Pretty much. And it's been like a year, so it was like a whole drama at that point.
That is definitely an interesting experience. I mean, from Ninja Warrior to an RPG to being a cretin.
Yeah, it's quite the storyline.
Yeah, this has entire 3 arcs.
Top 10 anime battles.
Yeah, like
Top 10 anime betrayals, more like.
just that plotline is better than the entire RPG game's plotline. I could make a much better game just off that story. Like, I don't even remember much, but yeah, that was my worst experience with someone that I worked for.
But a question to Ed now. I mean, then you can also answer this if you want. When you started development and when you got into all of that stuff, what resources did you use to start learning it? Like, did you watch videos, tutorials? Did you read? Did you have someone teach you? How did
Reference
you get into
pictures. I basically self-taught everything to myself. Besides 3D modeling, I had someone help me with that. Her name was Emily. I just look up a reference picture and I try my best to make it. And when I did, I posted on Twitter, get thoughts. I'd post it in Discord, get thoughts. And then people would just give me corrections of what to do and how to make it look better. And then I went from there. And ever since then, I've just been trying to progress into my work.
How did you learn scripting, Ben?
Oh, I also pretty much self-taught myself. Mainly it was from that or the wiki, the Roblox wiki, because I never really had like anyone to because when I started, I was only just getting into meeting people online, so I didn't really know anyone to help me. So it was more just me just in my room, like, okay, so we can do this, and then just looking up on the wiki, pretty much just copy and pasting everything, using free models, just kind of figuring out how everything worked just from like reading it and like trying to write it up myself. And when I got more and more confident, it was just kind of like I could probably figure it out, because scripting is kind of hard, but is kind of a pattern to it.
I tried getting into scripting, never again.
It's once you understand the pattern, like you could probably just figure out everything else from there. And plus, I've said this multiple times before, and I'm honestly not sure how many people use it, but from my knowledge, not really many people use it. But if you can't be bothered to go on the wiki, there's a tool in Studio, which is the object browser, which basically you can look through every single like object or like enumerator, whatever the hell they're called. And then you can just basically look at every single like property, every single like event to do with that. It's pretty useful if you cannot be bothered to look it up at the wiki.
Out of curiosity, if a newcomer, if an absolute newbie came up to you and asked how do I learn scripting / 3D modeling, what kind of advice would you give? Both of you.
You want to go first, Ben?
Sure. It's kind of, I mean, if they're asking me how to start, I'd probably tell them the same as how I started, just looking through free models and just learning from there. And the wiki. I mean, YouTube tutorials help, but I never really use YouTube tutorials. I prefer reading to watching, which is something that not many people prefer, but it's just kind of my way of doing it. But if scripting, I'd probably just say get like, even if you want, you could just get an illegally uncopylocked game. Like that helps too. Getting like an illegally copied version of like, I don't fucking know, Jailbreak or something, and then just looking at how that worked. Like, it's pretty much, for me, it was pretty much just reading and learning from that.
I'm calling the cops.
And then, yeah, like, uncopylocked stuff, but I know a few people who did that. But mainly just get like a free model or just go on the wiki or something.
Imagine if actually having an uncopylocked game was a criminal or a federal like crime, and you just had the FBI knock down your door like, we heard you got a copied version of Jailbreak, hands up in there, get down on the ground.
So I'm sorry, that Flood Escape copy is restricted. Like, but no, it's not. Once you understand how to, like, as I said, there's kind of a pattern. Like, you can probably, it doesn't take long to learn how to script. I'd probably say give it like a few months, maybe a year, and then you've pretty much got it.
And Ed, what would you suggest? What's your advice? Oh Lord,
you can hire me to help you. No, I'm just kidding. I'd say there's always people out there that's willing to help you 3D model. There's always people out there that will sit there and help you with the ropes. But the first thing that I did was I learned all the hotkeys in Blender, so that way I know how to easily extrude or scale or possibly even bevel something, so that way I can get a smoother edge. But start off with learning how to use Blender. Don't hop in there expecting to make a castle in the first 10 minutes. Learn out with smaller objects like trees or rocks, or if you want to do realistic Blender, try to model a car, or that's pretty advanced. I'd say model like a box, a crate, and go from there. Always start simple and advance from there, you know?
Yeah.
It's always better to start at your low instead of rushing into something. What I did, my first ever model was a tree, a little poly tree. It did pretty right.
I think that's probably everyone. If they started model, they'd probably a tree. I mean, I did the exact polar opposite when I started scripting. I just tried doing everything big. So that meant my first ever game I completed, or at least I scripted, I think I actually mentioned this earlier, was just basically a get to the other side game. But there wasn't actually like any detection when you got to like the other side of the map. It was mainly just everyone just spawned on the other side of the room, and then they had to quickly rush towards the other side of the room, while I was just like the path in the middle just slowly fades away. And like you wouldn't even get teleported back. Like once you've done it, you were just stuck there. That was the first thing I ever made.
I think the first thing I ever made. See, the thing is, when I first started developing, I jumped right into making a game. I never made a proper build. I just made a fucking game, and that was a mistake.
Logical Studios vibes.
No, before even that. So then after that absolutely went to absolute oblivion, I made a castle. That's how I started.
Castles is fun to make, man.
Yeah, I actually, I'm probably gonna link this later, but the first ever build I actually did was also the first proper build, and also the first thing I posted on Twitter was this absolute beautiful castle that was, it was something, right?
Yeah.
So
starting off by already plugging yourself.
Honestly, I would actually share the sentiments. I wouldn't suggest for anyone to start big, because like if you start big and you start failing, then that can easily demotivate you, and you don't really learn anything. It's always better to start small and then keep improving that small thing until you can do bigger and better things. So I share both of your sentiments. Though I don't share Ben's idea of trying to make a freaking game.
That's something I struggle with, is motivation. It's hard for me to find motivation.
Motivation, yes, motivation, the most difficult thing on this planet. Motivation. How do you both deal with motivation?
Oh, I'm the wrong person to ask for that, man.
Yeah. I've talked to you about this. As I said like a few days ago in private DMs, something that really helped me with motivation was just like, even if it's like a big game, just like, even if you're like doing like tiny progress every day, like I feel just having like little sticky notes or anything, just saying like, I don't know, even if it's just like place one block or like finish an entire system, just like do it bit by bit.
Crap!
Just, like,
so are you telling me that my advice actually helped you?
Yeah.
Oh, crap! I didn't expect that.
That helps me a lot with the Monopoly game. Because when beginning, like every single time I have a new idea, I'm just kind of like, oh mate, this is like, this is gonna like make me feel awful because I need to do all this, and then like every single time I'm in the middle of scripting something, for example, I'm just like thinking of every single way that script could break, and I'm trying to patch everything at once, and that's what kind of tires me out. It's just kind of like making it look like reading back through it, and I'm like, wait, you can easily break it by doing this, and having to redo it over and over again until I get like burnt out of it.
So people recently, when I made my article for Roblox, people called me an amateur, and so haven't me. In all of my time as a developer, when I started back in about 2010, 2011, I have quit Roblox like 3-4 times, and I've had a lot of I've been a part of teams, and I've had a lot of partners, and I've constantly seen people lose motivation and so on and so forth. So I've kind of figured out tips and tricks to kind of combat it. For like when you're making a game, that's when the motivation becomes a real issue. Like making one build or a simple system is one thing, but making a whole game, and that's where a lot of people freaking throw in the towel and give up. But like I told Ben, it is really good to dissect a game, because when you go head into a game and you have no idea what you actually have to do, and you start thinking of those things as you go along, it might really seem really freaking huge. But once you start dissecting it into pieces, like I have to do this thing and this system and this and this, when you have it in pieces, it kind of becomes more easier, especially once you start checking them off, because that's like a visual representation of the progress you're making. So that can increase motivation.
It's kind of like how when you buy a new big Lego set, how everything appears in like little bags of each section.
Yeah, and that is psychologically speaking, that is like a visual. That makes it more visually pleasing, having things organized. People, even the most unorganized people on this planet, like to be organized to some extent. Like in their unorganized chaos, there is still organization. You just don't understand it. So we as people, we like things being where we want them to be, and that kind of psychology also follows into game development or anything really. If you have it into 90 pieces and you know what pieces you have to do and it's organized, it will be a lot easier. It will seem a lot more manageable than having an entire chest filled with Legos and then you have to somehow build something out of it. And of course, never start too big. Never. This has been a proven fact that is taught in every single university course. It is literally the most common suggestion, the general concept and general rule. When you're making a game, never start big. Never. The cycle has to be that you start small, then you go further from that. If you start too big, you're going to fail. There's like a 99% chance that you will fail. That 0.1% chance is you somehow getting lucky and somehow everything falls into place correctly as how you wanted in your first go. But that's not going to be the case 99% of the time.
This is going to be really weird to say, but that's kind of like how I started Twitter back then. Just kind of like taking it slowly. But the thing is, I'm going to sound like a really big doofus when I say this, but when I first started Twitter back in 2016, a majority of my followers came from either me with other people and they gave me a shout out, but another big thing on what everyone did back then to gain followers and get their name out there and like then do other stuff was giveaways. And I was one of those people who was temporarily on the giveaway boat, just doing one every like month or something.
Oh, I'm in that boat.
And then I did the pretty much basic Robux giveaways. Like I did like 500, 1,000 Robux giveaways, which back then was quite a bit. And I mainly gained, and that's pretty much how I gained my first 100 followers. Like it just kind of sparked in my head, like when I was like at like 10, 20 followers, I was just kind of like, oh, how do these kids get followers these days? Oh, let's just give away things to public people. And as much as giveaways are a good thing followers wise, once like the giveaways ended and you found out a winner and you've given the prize, then it's just gonna become dead, like because people are gonna be all of a sudden like uninterested in the giveaway and pretty much you in general, unless you're giving away something else or you're a frequent person of giveaways, which I wasn't.
Yeah, giveaways are good for a small growth spurt, but those people, only some of them will actually stay. The others will only be there for that giveaway. So it's a really iffy thing. I consider giveaways to be absolutely useless. Sorry. I've never done a giveaway, not a single one. I did one as a joke. It was obviously a joke. It was, I think, a giveaway for my soul. But giveaways. But Ben, you have worked with Unity, and Ed, you have worked with Blender, and so on and so forth. So let me ask you this: now that all of us here have had experience with other softwares and engines and what have you, why Roblox? Like, why Roblox? Why not Unreal? Why not Unity? Why not literally any? One
very, very simple answer. My computer back then, it wasn't the best for handling things like Unity back then, or Unreal for that matter. If my old computer back then launched Unreal like back in 2011, it would have exploded. Like, and plus, it's not even that. Like, when I started Roblox, I wasn't even on my own computer. I was on my mum's computer. And when I started developing, I was on my mum's computer for a little bit until...
I just imagine, like, hey, you're working with that game? No, wait, my time's up. I have to wait for my mom to get away so I can use my mom's PC.
When I first started development and then first started online friends, because when you first start having online friends, your parents get skeptical. They're like, hey, are you talking to old people online? And I was like working with people and I was like not really calling them, more just like messaging them, and my mum would just come up to me like, hey, who are you messaging? Like, and then I would just freak out and I wouldn't tell her that I was talking to people online, so I would just say I was talking to like a real life friend or something.
Ben, do you want to get into my white van?
Absolutely. But
yeah, Andy.
Yes, I have a bag of candy right next to my passenger seat. Come and have a seat.
I didn't get my own computer until December 2013. About then, I didn't get a gaming computer until Christmas of last year. So now I can do things like Unity and that. But for Roblox, it was it was kind of like the same with Roblox as well. How I was like already into it and I was aware people could make games and that off it, and I didn't really want to learn Unity in general.
But you came back. Now you have learned Unity. You have taken courses and what have you, and done Unity stuff, haven't you?
Yeah.
And you still came back to Roblox.
It's mainly because I have friends who use Roblox as well as, like, because I don't know many people who use Unity apart from my real life friends. In other words, no, they don't actually. They all use Unreal. Yeah, I can't get into the blueprint thing. It's not hard. I just don't like it.
Same for you, Ed. Why don't you work with Unity or any other engine?
I've worked with Unity a tiny bit, but Blender, it's easier. I mean, easier to use, and it's, in my opinion, smoother. But the reason I don't know why I chose Roblox. I guess it's because I was already there and I already had. You've
been already abducted. There's no escape now. You're staying here forever.
Yeah. Once you're in the community, there's no getting out.
Once you're in, there is no escape, but only death.
Scream.
There's literally no escape. Yeah. I've tried. I've literally tried.
Especially, like when you were just threatened to quit, and then the next day, like, okay, no, maybe there is good things about it.
Oh, I used to do it so many times.
Same here.
No, so I was at some point in my life, I was friends with a lot of people, like Master of the Elements and a few other people, and very often I would have arguments with him and other people, and my go-to threat was, you know what? I'm gonna quit Roblox. so then I was
That
just
was everyone.
then I was just close the game and just stare at the website like, is anybody gonna message me? And then I went off and like I went off and then I went on YouTube, and then like a few hours later, like the next day, I'm like, okay, I'm bored. What's on Roblox?
Yeah.
Everyone did that. Like, I would just get in an argument, and I would just, like, it would all get rolled up, and I'm getting like roasted the shit out of, and I'm like, I don't like you anymore. I don't like this game anymore. I quit, and then the next day it's just like, okay, hi.
There's was times where, back in my past, I wasn't the best person. I've had some situations to where there's things that people can hold me against with, and there's times to where that's came to surface, and it's all handled now. But there's times where it's came to surface, and I physically had to quit for a month or two, just so it could all pass. But occasionally there's times where I'm like, do I really want to keep doing this? I'm 21. Do I really need to keep doing this? But then I see people
don't
like,
roast me, bruh.
No, dude. And
I feel attacked.
Like, is it really something? This is a game that everyone looks at as a kid's game, but yet most developers are just the exact same age. But realistically, I mean, you're literally cuffed. You can't go anywhere because once you quit, you're gonna come right back. I mean, it's like, it's weird.
But like, you're both saying we all agreed that once you get in, there's no going out. So why?
There's this.
Like, what is the appeal of Roblox that like truly kidnaps you, abducts you to a point where there's no escape?
The community.
Yeah, unlike Unreal or Unity, Roblox is a game within itself. Like, you can either make things, which obviously you can do with Unity and Unreal, because of course they're game engines, but with Unity and Unreal, they don't have games made by other people, nor do they have character customization. It's pretty much a game where you can just make other games. Like,
I mean, I would also call it a platform. I would call
Roblox is a platform.
Yeah, I would call it a social game development platform. Is I think a really accurate name for it, because Roblox is, let's be honest, Roblox would not be where it is if it weren't for the developers and the community. Like,
and the money.
And and
but
the money.
who gets the money? But think about it, who gets the money? Who gets Roblox the money?
The people.
That's what I've always wanted. I don't know if it's sponsorships. I don't know if it's just user-generated income.
I feel most of the money that Roblox gets is because Roblox used to do a lot of sponsors back in the days. They did a lot of partnerships, and they still do. Also, Builders Clubs / premium purchases.
Yeah, I know people are buying premium.
And also web traffic that gives you money. How many people visit your site?
I don't think the in-game purchases are what's making Roblox millions.
No,
or
definitely
billions
not.
At it.
But
then again, you need to put into perspective. There's a ton of people who play Roblox every single day, and that's coming in from the people who visit the site.
Yeah, there's hundreds of thousands of players actively playing and making
how
stuff.
many people have premium?
There's 100 million concurrent players.
And no one knows exactly how many people on Roblox premium.
Right. So,
and plus sponsorships, as I said, will get you quite a bit of money.
Oh, definitely, especially the sponsorships they're doing now with the clout they have. Like, Roblox has acquired a certain amount of influence to a point where they can have sponsors at freaking DC, and like that's fucking mental. Like that's actually mental. Like, I remember when Roblox was just a thing, you know, in the corner that people knew about, but no one really cared. Now it's used in schools to teach people, to teach children.
Like I know Roblox got a decent income back from the Ready Player One event.
Yeah.
Because they physically paid Roblox.
Yeah.
To do that, and it blew up. I mean, there was a massive surprise. There was a massive prize that Roku got. He's the only one that got it, and it had people, had thousands of people into it. I mean, traffic came from that, and I know.
But then again, essentially, still the community. Like, at the end of the day, what would Roblox be without this player base? Like,
a website.
Yeah, they would be a website. They would just be another website that earns like $50 a day.
It'll be like one of those. I don't know how to explain it. You know, games like Unturned. I feel it'll kind of be like that.
Yeah.
Like it'll probably have like a small community.
Yeah.
Like an almost dead community, but there's still a little amount of people who actually care about the game.
90% of the community on Roblox are players, and then you have the 10% that are devs. I'd say 5% devs, and then 5% is YouTubers. So our community is not really that big. We're just the people that have entertainment for the people that play the game.
We're the reason that Roblox exists. Let's be like honest. If there were no games on Roblox, then there would be no player base. If there were no player base, there would be no income for Roblox.
I mean, I see your point, but I hate when people say that. Not necessarily hate it, but I mean, I get what the sole purpose of the game or the platform itself. But also, if Roblox put their own games in there, I'm sure there'll also be people that would still play.
Okay, yeah. So I get that point, right? I do get that. But logically speaking, right? How many? Yeah,
games, logically speaking, we are the sole purpose of the website. I agree with that.
Yeah, but like what you said is that if Roblox made its own games, right? But how many? Like we as developers, we basically throw out like 2-5 games every few weeks. I don't mean all specific. I just mean as the community as a whole.
The community, yeah.
We constantly throw out new games on a weekly basis almost. So that's what keeps players entertained, because when a player plays a game, right, they're gonna get bored of it at some point, so they're gonna look for another game. So now, if you remove all of these games that we have right now, how many games could Roblox do? Like, how many actual games could Roblox create?
Yeah.
I feel like if they could create a great game, right, a really good game, and people would definitely play it, but at some point they would get bored of it, and then where would they go if there were some other games? Like, Roblox is one of the sites...
It's just like GTA, where people are playing it for the whole 6 years straight.
I mean, GTA also has a crap ton of content, like, man, holy crap.
Yeah. But I've been playing a lot of it recently.
Yeah, I've been playing a crap ton of it as well, just played it today.
I've only done GTA for the casino mainly. I feel casinos a pretty good update.
Oh, yeah,
alright, we get it, bro. You like to gamble.
Oh man, I gambled so much of my money away in the casino.
Kids don't gamble.
Yeah, we're adults. Let us gamble instead.
Already with real money, don't gamble.
I've been wanting to make a casino game on Roblox. It's just the terms of certain.
Against the rules.
No,
it's against the rules.
No, you can make a poker game on Roblox, technically.
As long as you don't like waste real life money or Roblox.
So if you make a poker game on Roblox, it can't have any correlation with real money. It can't even really contain Robux. And
you can't even make game passes. That sucks.
No, I think you can make game passes, but they can't specifically be a part of the game. You know, like you can't use Robux to buy chips for your gambling. You can't do that.
Yeah.
But you can make like a game pass that allows you to join like a premium table or something.
See, that's what I'm confused. Like, say I made a casino simulator, not necessarily for like gambling, but like the more you bet, you can like trade up currency and all that. But would it still matter if you had like dev products to buy more chips for the simulator, even though it's not necessarily gambling? Even, you know?
I mean, if you're spending Robux on like, let's take back the Robux to chips idea. Like, say, like, I feel it might be fine if you there was like a legitimate way to earn chips other than just straight up buying them. That might be fine, but I think it's just against the rules if you purely get chips from wasting your real life money on Robux to buy chips. Obviously, you lose it all.
What I'm trying to say is, like, yeah, it's a simulator, but like for your chips, upgrade your casino or something like that. People chips to get more things, so they buy dev products.
But
I mean,
also with the Robux things, there's obviously no physical way to give out Robux as well.
yeah.
So like if you even waste Robux to like gamble something that will obviously give you a big prize, that can only be in chips because there's obviously no method of getting Robux from a script or something. Whoops. Can only imagine the amount of Robux generated from that.
That'd be cool if Roblox like
I feel it would rewards would be good because UGC's coming out, or it has came out, but not for everyone. I feel it'd be good if you could award people like your own hats and that. That would be really cool.
Yeah, you could actually have like your own award shows, technically. Like imagine having an award show where the prize is like a UC award. Like I can see
nothing huge, but like
yeah, like I can see that's becoming like a huge.
How many of you had an Xbox 360?
of course.
How some like indie games or just some games in general, if you got like an achievement, you had like a little hat or like a t-shirt for your avatar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same with like how Roblox events works as well, like the egg hunt.
I mean, they've actually done something like this, so I can't see it being too difficult to implement, because like there have been events, right, where you can get special items. Like so, there's already a system in place for something like this.
Like how if you got like an egg hat in Roblox, you would get like the physical hat on your avatar.
So I mean,
that's easily implemented, but the only problem with that is that anyone can abuse it. Like with such power comes great responsibility. Like if you just give everyone the power to give a hat, let's say by achievement, then you would have the people who would just spam give you items and you just flood your inventory.
Let's actually now talk about the most serious topic that we could possibly talk about today.
Alright.
The dev forum.
how's the weather?
The what? How's the weather?
It's dark. It's bleak.
Yeah.
Things are getting rolled up in the meteorologist community.
The dev forum? Like, what about it?
I mean, what is your opinions on the dev forum? Like overall,
like the website itself?
Yeah, the dev forum.
That's great. It's one of the best things that's ever been implemented.
I don't use the dev forums that much.
Okay.
But
Fake dev.
Like talking, I would say talking to Roblox in like quotes, because there's administrators on there and they hang around with like the developers, so it's a good way of like reaching out to like the staff members and like other developers about like the things you do and like bugs and that in general. But the requirements, or at least back then, because now the requirements are just pretty much just read a bunch of articles and you're in, but the requirements of going in back then of just having to link all your places and like write a whole paragraph on why you wanted to get in.
That's what I had to go through, and I had to wait 6 months to get accepted.
Well,
Yeah.
you have to link like 3 projects of your work, and then you have to like write why you wanted to go into the dev forum. And like it took me like a couple of tries to get into the dev forum, and it wasn't until
I got lucky.
I think it was actually like a day in secondary school, just as I like got out. Didn't you receive an email? Was it an email that you received?
Yeah.
So how I got accepted is I sent the application with some of my work, and again, this was back when I was just beginning at building, and when I was a builder, and so I waited 5 months. I didn't get a response, so I reached out to them, and the next day they accepted me. All right, cool.
Yeah, for me it was pretty much just keep doing it until I succeeded it.
No, my application was trash.
When I actually cared about Roblox development, or just when I was like most passionate about it, like when I still don't know if we got the email or not, but I got like a notification about it, and like it was like at the end of like a secondary school day, and my heart was like racing. Like I was really happy for some reason.
I mean, it is an achievement. It is.
It's an achievement, and it's something to flex on other people. But now the fact that you can like get in just by reading like a few articles, just kind of.
Which makes me mad because all the people that applied remember.
Yeah, I kind of dislike this. I can kind of understand like getting more of an influx of players to get interested in development, right? On paper it sounds good, but then on the dev forum you have posts like, "Help me, how do you get a brick from the toolbox?" And I'm like, right.
Oh yeah, like
Right.
you get those posts like every now and then, which is like, how do I reset my character? And it's like,
Yeah,
and I'm just thinking, I tried all this time to get in. How the fuck did you get in?
and they're usually in the wrong places as well, and it's just kind of messy. And there's quite a few of them. Like if you actually look through the dev forum, there's quite a lot of those. Let's call them filler posts. It's like,
I feel also depends on like if you were primarily a builder and you're only just getting into scripting, and then they use the dev forum to help, and then it would look stupid, but then they might have been like a builder that's only just been introduced to scripting.
yeah, but
And if that's the case, then that's fine. Like,
yeah, but I have also seen like different posters along the lines of, "Help me, this girl, this user / this user bullied me in this game. Can you please Roblox ban them?" Like, so therefore I'm isn't the right place for this. I understand like this can do good, but I feel like making the requirements to get in this lax just gets you this kind of content. Like, I think it's a slight mistake to honestly make it that lax. That like, oh, I just took a few articles. Yay, I'm a dev now. Like, I'm not trying to be elitist or gatekeeping anyone. I do want more people to get into the dev forum, but like, there is kind of there should be more conditions to getting in, other than looking at a few things.
I feel the old method of getting in by like linking your work and saying why you wanted to be in was better than now.
Yeah,
because now you have like the new member.
Yeah.
And to be fair to the dev forum, if you get in just by reading a bunch of articles, you're considered a new member. Like, you're not a full member, but you still have access to like reading the dev forums and writing on certain articles. You only have full access if you're like active as a new member, which I'm not, hence why I'm still a new member.
See, I've been part of the dev forums for almost 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
Oh, so I would like to say that when I first sent my application to Roblox, which was years ago, it took like 6 months until they finally accepted me. And they accepted me as a new member, and then told me to later apply for member. But then about a week after that, my game was released. Boom! Member!
It's Crumble. Oh,
yeah.
Molegul. Oh, him. Oh, yeah. Rank him up, boys.
Who are you?
Just goes up to a dev. It's like, hi, I'm a dev member. It's like, who are you? It's like, I made Crumble. What?
I'm gonna flex Crumble once beta releases. Alpha is absolute crap.
Didn't Roblox promote it?
Yeah, Roblox said feature it, but after the feature ended, it also stayed on the front page for a little while, and then it started breaking, and then it died.
Nice.
That part of every game is just like, once you've spent a bunch of time on it, you just watch it break in front of you, and everyone just starts playing it.
This is what happened on features when the feature came out. Like I told you, we had to rush it. So when it finally came out, it was released and it was featured, and it got to near 1,000 players. At the time, the max was around 10,000. Keep in mind, this was years ago. So it was on the front page, and then after a while, the feature ended. But the game still consistently stayed on the front page. Not on the same spot, but it was still on the front page. But then it started breaking, and it's like, oh crap. And my partner was finishing his college at the time. So he wasn't able to help me fix anything. I wasn't able to fix any of that stuff because it required rescripting a lot of things. So I was just sitting there watching everything break, just watching it crumble.
Every single time someone joins my game, or like someone I don't know, or just someone I'm showing my game to, it's like my mum trying to find something that I can't find. They just find all these bugs that I just didn't even know about existed, and I'm just here like, how the hell have you figured that out? Like, I never got to find out these bugs. How the hell are you? And it's like sometimes it's like the most obvious ones, like leaving the game as you teleport them to the map, and they obviously can't find you, so the game breaks. It's just things like that.
Yeah, but imagine just sitting there and just watching your game literally crumbling. But it was literally it was literally crumbling right before my eyes. The save data broke, the shop broke, everything broke, and I was just watching there, just watching it die. It's like it was
like, and then everyone just keeps the dislikes, and then like, oh, it's such a broken game, like, and you're just gets teared in front of you.
And every now and then I get a message. Hey, can you fix Crumble? I'm working on pizza.
My mate's points won't load. Fix.
I've been through that situation so many times.
I have a few friends who have made it. For example, I know Reported, the dude who made like an automated Big Brother, he made automated Survivor, things like that, and those got reasonably popular. And when he started like taking off, and when me and him were still kind of talking to each other, I kept occasionally looking at his Twitter, just seeing how he was doing. And every single comment section of his, like, even if it was like the most irrelevant tweets, it was just him like, fix Survivors, fix Big Brother, like, fix all this. And it's, Jesus Christ, it must suck being him right now. Like...
But you know, I do think it is time to badger Ed with the questions that people have asked.
Oh god. Hit him.
Okay.
Hit me, bro, hit me.
I'm going to hit you. I'm going to hit you really hard.
Oh.
Not in that way, though. Right. So, Bildite asks, how did you get into 3D modeling? I've seen your work, although I'm curious as to what brought you to Blender 3D modeling. I mean, you already kind of answered that, but...
We kind of answered this earlier, but what got me into 3D modeling? So when I was building, I don't really build as much anymore. I heard about 3D modeling and that you can do more building with 3D modeling and make it look a little better. So I hit up Emily and I asked her if she could help me, and she did. So that's about how I got into it.
Okay. Then Yelp1 Yelp reviews asks, how hard was the journey from starting out to where you are now? What obstacles did you face? How did you overcome them? And what is the most difficult thing for you to do even now? And then he rephrased a little bit. What is the most challenging thing for you as a 3D modeler? You can kind of answer all of those things, I think, in the same time.
So the most difficult part is motivation.
Yes.
That is the most difficult thing. That's my biggest obstacle, is because I tell people to keep going, don't give up, but yet I play victim and I give up. I don't see progress. I don't see progress in myself sometimes. I'm just like, all right, you know what? I give up. But I'm always telling people, I'm such a hypocrite, and I'm always telling people, yeah, just keep working. Even if you don't see progress, keep going. It'll happen. But I'm the biggest hypocrite when it comes to that. What was the other question?
Oh yeah, the first question was, how hard was the journey from starting out to where you are now?
It was difficult. Because being such a small developer, you're not really known, so your doesn't really get out there until just one day, just so happened one person retweets it, and the next thing you know, you get hundreds of people looking at your work. And starting out as a small developer, it's hard without any publicity, and I think that's one of the biggest obstacles to getting your work out there is finding the right people to help you.
I feel that's one of like the biggest unmotivators as well, is just knowing that like you haven't really got much recognition, and that just kind of demotivates you for showing you new stuff.
Oh yeah, by far.
It always comes down to motivation. Then our friend in the neighborhood, Sea Leaf, asked, actually DM'd me a question after I bullied him a bit. What first threw you into not only Roblox, but 3D modeling as a whole? Do you anticipate to continue growing this skill into something more and potentially making it your life specialty? Or would you rather learn another trade and focus on that instead?
Ooh, that's something I've thought of for a while. To answer that, focusing on something else instead first is, yeah, I want to continue UI, or not UI, 3D modeling, but I've found another passion, which is again UI. But I don't see why it doesn't hurt to not do both. They're both really fun to me. I enjoy them completely, and I feel like I'm gonna progress in both of them as much as I possibly can. What do you ask first?
Yes, the first question at the very beginning was, what first threw you into not only Roblox but 3D modeling as a whole? And then, do you anticipate to continue growing the skill into something more and potentially make it your life specialty?
What threw me into Roblox is, it's really the community, and it's something that I enjoyed. It's not something that I felt as a job necessarily, and I enjoyed doing it, so I just kept doing it, and I still enjoy it.
I'm not laughing at that. Sorry.
But do you anticipate to continue growing this skill into something more and potentially make it your life specialty?
Do I potentially growing this skill? Yes. Do I potentially making it career? I don't want it to be a job. I want it to be a hobby.
Okay, fair enough. Brilliant answers. That's I think about. Oh wait, there was one other question from the Sir Cheese a lot. Where do you see yourself in about 20 years or so?
Dead. No, I'm just kidding.
You all expected that.
What a fucking accurate response! Relatable. I can relate to that.
Yeah, no, I don't know. In 20 years, that's such a long time, and you really can't really see yourself that far. I mean, anything's possible. Hell, I could be under a bridge, or I could be in a mansion. But anything's possible in 20 years.
Okay, I can relate.
We all expected that, Joe.
Yeah, I was like, the moment I finished the sentence, I was like, okay, it's coming. Yeah, it's coming. Yep, there it is.
Yeah, like as you said that, I was just thinking, oh, he's gonna say dead. I would say dead. If I was in that situation.
I knew that was coming. I genuinely knew that was coming.
I mean, you wouldn't say that.
Oh god, I don't know who just got that, to be honest.
But now,
Yeah.
I do want to ask you another question from myself. My person.
Is it about my cars? If it's about my cars, you're not allowed.
No, listen, you have to understand that I don't care about your cars. I have my mic. It's okay, baby. I'll protect you.
He's just gonna like go down the interstate, just riding his microphone like a broomstick.
No,
Right down the Autobahn.
I'll dance with my mic and propose to it. I'm sorry, my girlfriend. I love you, but the mic is amazing.
Yeah, that's funny.
But no, the question is, we talked about developer interaction and stuff, but have you ever had any really weird fan interactions? And like in general, how have you had weird fan interactions?
Of course I have, man.
Oh.
Dude, oh my god, okay, so at this RDC party that we had not too long,
Yeah.
I had people in the crowd that it surprised me because I didn't know I had fans. I mean, who would know that I had fans?
I still can't wrap my mind around it.
Yeah, neither can I, man. How am I enjoyable, but I'm not. But I had someone, he straight up said, I will lick your earlobe. I was like, hold on, wait a second. I was like, hold on. So it was weird. So I mean, that's probably one of the
like mashed or anything like.
Probably.
I just imagine like someone coming up to and going, hey, I want to lick your earlobe.
I'm just thinking of like an old man just coming up to you on like the street. Like, it's like, I'll give you a $5 if you let me lick your ear. Like.
No, but that made my day. It's hilarious. But that's probably one of the weirdest interactions. But other than that, usually people are just coming up to me and asking me for like a screenshot or something.
Like, I'm not even a big creator. I barely have a fan base, but it's like, oh.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Ooh, you want a screenshot with me? Ooh, plush, ooh.
it's kind of
Snuggles.
people coming up to you as if you're like the second coming of Jesus.
I know, right? I adore my fans, anyone I do have, but so I've gotten so many messages.
If you guys see me in a game, even if I'm just chilling with Molegul here playing fishing simulator, and you guys want to screenshot, don't hesitate to ask, man. I mean,
We just might throw you to the sharks as food, but other than that, it's fine.
But yeah, go ahead. I mean,
I
take time out of my day. Ask me for a screenshot. I wouldn't mind at all.
Yeah, he just might post it on Snapchat to keep his streaks going.
Is that it?
I had a joke, but it died. I had a thing, but it didn't work out. Okay, this was an interesting first podcast. I'll not have to go and I'll have to not go and edit this, and I'll have to go.
Kind of rocky at first, but it got there.
A little bit rocky. It was only 3 hours. In all honesty, thank you, Ben, for joining as my co-host for this first podcast, and thank you, Ed.
Screw you, Ben.
Yeah, you were a good guest.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was nice having you. Thank you for doing the sacrifice of being the first.
No worries, man. Dude, I remember my first podcast I hosted. It was so bad.
I'm so happy that for the first guest it wasn't Bobby or someone else. I would have.
Bobby as in Beastlick?
Yeah, he agreed to come as a guest at some point. So,
Wow. I'm triggered. He said no to my podcast. I'm triggered. I'm gonna have to DM him, man, after this, man.
No, yes, a small, I guess, a small sneak peek that is in fact a possibility. I have contacted a fair few people who might be coming on as guests at some point. Roblox developers.
Asimo.
If Asimo came to my podcast, I'd be like,
Imagine just like big man Asimo or someone just came up, I'd just be like, you're right there. Just end it right there.
oh man. But no, I do have plans for this podcast. I want to make this into a proper freaking series, and any guests and anyone will probably, if anything's confirmed,
pick me.
I'll put it on Twitter, and just if anybody does want to become a guest, it doesn't matter if you're a YouTuber, Roblox developer, whoever. If you have something interesting about you that you feel like you could share with other people, try to comment, pop in, and I'll gladly have you on. To abuse you, obviously.
Yeah, we're gonna flash a light on your head and say, "Tell me everything you know."
That's what they did here. I've had a gun held in my head for like 2 hours.
Yeah. See, this is why we have a slight echo. It's because we're in a closed-off room where there's only one light and it's being shown into Ed's face constantly, and I have a trench coat on. And
I'm like seeing spots right now, bro.
He's not going to be here after this podcast. We're going to be writing his tweets for him after this.
Why not? Actually, why not?
Yeah, you want my Twitter? I'll give you.
No. I gladly make a tweet. Why not? We could use tweet tech, and I can make a tweet.
Yeah.
Watch our podcast. Listen to our podcast.
Takes away my promotions. Replace them.
John Doe is coming back.
one X has returned, boys. But yeah, it was wonderful. But that's for a bit. Yeah, do any of you have anything? Do any of you have anything left to say before we end this?
Thanks for having me.
Followers, follow me.
Follow me on Twitter at Edxnn. Also follow my Reddit.
Yes, I'm actually gonna ask this. Do you have anything upcoming, Ed, as a Twitch or a stream or anything?
A game.
Aside from a game.
We discussed that earlier.
Besides.
Like, this is a moment to plug stuff. Come on, you can do better.
If you could describe it in one word, what would it be?
Esports.
The fuck?
I'm currently working on an esports team.
That is interesting.
Or Roblox. Developer esports. Oh my god, he developed the game in 5 seconds!
No,
The crowd goes wild.
it's gonna be Arsenal esports.
Yeah, of course.
But
Like,
yeah.
Imagine they did that in RDC, just in the games jam. Just like the developer comes out, he's like, and he's finished the game already. Just like every single the people who are presenting it are just shoutcasters.
Yeah.
I will probably be linking everyone's stuff in the description and in the comments, and yeah, that's what I'm gonna
My
be doing.
question is, when do you think this podcast is going to be out?
Whenever I feel like editing a 2-hour video,
Sounds good.
I think I'll probably go and start doing it today. And I already know what I want to do, kind of, for it. Just gonna take some time. I hope to God that I don't have to do any audio editing, otherwise I'm gonna go insane.
Yeah.
But aside from that, absolutely brilliant.
Oh, I wasn't recording the whole time.
Oh, that would be...
Oh, that would suck. Oh no! I reached the 10-minute limit of my Bandicam recording.
Yeah, okay, let's end this. Thanks for coming, Ed. Thanks for joining me, Ben, as a co-host.
You're welcome.
This is probably...
I expect my payment in my DMs and.
Oh, yeah, we'll send the PayPal right after we murder you.
But,
You're gonna have to gamble for it.
Yeah.
If it wasn't against the rules, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is us signing off. Thank you, if anyone actually does watch this. Bye, everyone. See you next
Goodbye.
time.
Later.